Heroes of Barbuzaar, Idi Amin Dada. Idi Amin Dada. The name still echoes in the corridors of history, feared, admired, and ultimately condemned by the Western world. He was a man of contradictions, a soldier, a patriot, a leader. Born in 1925 in Koboko, Uganda, Idi Amin came from the Kakwa ethnic group, a people known for their resilience and warrior spirit. Like many African boys of his time, his early years were spent in the harsh realities of colonial rule. Uganda was under British control, and young Amin grew up witnessing the power of those who held the gun. In the 1940s, he joined the King's African Rifles, a regiment of the British colonial army. As a soldier, Amin excelled. He fought in Burma during World War II and later in Kenya during the Mau Mau uprising. His brutality in combat earned him both respect and fear. By the 1960s, Uganda was on the brink of independence. In 1962, the British left and a new nation was born. Its first leader, Milton Obote, saw potential in Idi Amin and quickly promoted him through the ranks of the Ugandan army. But power is a dangerous thing, and those who seek it never rest. In 1971, while Milton Obote was away attending a Commonwealth conference in Singapore, Idi Amin made his move. A military coup. No bloodshed at first. Just soldiers storming key locations, radio stations, government offices, and the presidential palace. By the time Obote realized what had happened, it was too late. Uganda had a new ruler. At first, Amin played the role of a benevolent leader. He charmed the people, declaring himself a man of the people. He promised democracy, stability, and economic growth. The world watched as this charismatic general, often dressed in flamboyant military uniforms, took center stage. But behind the smiles, behind the grand parades, lurked something far more malign. Power consumed Idi Amin. He declared himself president for life. Then the executions began. Amin turned against his own allies, accusing them of plotting against him. His secret police, the State Research Bureau, carried out brutal purges. Ministers, judges, army officers, even ordinary citizens suspected of disloyalty were rounded up and tortured. He gave himself extravagant titles. His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal, Lord of all beasts of the earth and fishes of the sea, and Conqueror of the British Empire. And if that wasn't enough, he called himself the last King of Scotland. Though Idi Amin's rule was marked by controversy, yet there were aspects of his leadership that were positive. Idi Amin expulsed the Asians from Uganda. Amin's intent was to return Uganda's economy to native Ugandans. As prior to this event, the Asians had almost taken monopoly of the country's economy. He redistributed businesses and properties that had been controlled by South Asians to local Ugandans. Some Ugandans initially benefited from this, although mismanagement led to economic decline. Amin invested in Uganda's military, improving its size and equipment. He built new barracks and modernized military facilities, which, at least initially, made Uganda a stronger force in the region. He also focused on road and infrastructure projects, especially in rural areas. Amin positioned himself as an advocate of African self-reliance, rejecting Western dominance and encouraging Uganda to embrace its cultural heritage. He promoted Swahili as a unifying language, trying to reduce tribal and regional divisions. He aligned himself with other African nationalist leaders and gave support to anti-colonial movements, including those in Southern Africa and Palestine. Under Amin's rule, Uganda's national football team reached the final of the 1978 African Cup of Nations, their best performance in history. He personally supported and encouraged sports development. He promoted Uganda's visibility on the world stage, hosting international summits and trying to position the country as a strong, independent African nation. In the early years of his rule, Amin built hospitals, schools, and health centers in rural areas, providing access to communities that previously had little infrastructure. He offered free education and scholarships for Ugandan students to study abroad. Amin distanced Uganda from its former colonial ruler Britain and sought to establish a more independent Ugandan identity, reducing European influence in politics and the economy. He promoted economic self-sufficiency, urging Ugandans to take control of key industries and resources. While Idi Amin ruled his country with an iron fist, enemies lurked in the shadows, waiting, watching. By the late 1970s, Idi Amin made one fatal mistake, invading Tanzania in 1978. The Tanzanian army, along with Ugandan exiles, launched a counter-offensive. The battle raged on, pushing Amin's forces back. In April 1979, Kampala fell. Amin, once the all-powerful leader, fled into exile. He sought refuge in Libya, then Saudi Arabia. Idi Amin spent over 2 decades in exile in Saudi Arabia, where he lived a life of comfort untouched by justice. In 2003, he fell into a coma and died in a hospital in Jeddah. He was buried quietly, far away from the country he once ruled. Even in death, Idi Amin's name stirs fear, fascination, and controversy. Was he a patriot who fought against colonial rule? Or was he merely a man who let power corrupt his soul? If you found this story gripping, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts. Was Idi Amin a product of his time? Or was he truly a dictator? Let's discuss in the comments below. The end. And thanks for watching.
Bedtime Tales of African Queens Who Slayed History is a children's illustrated picture book introducing kids to the legendary stories of 31 African warrior queens and princesses. The stories are lovingly written in a fairy tale style, making it easy for every kid to immediately dive deep into the magical and wonderful universe of these extraordinary women who changed history forever. This is a book to learn about the adventures of Africa's true legendary queens. Get your own copy today. Now available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold.
Idi Amin a product of his time? Or was he truly a dictator? Let's discuss in the comments below. The end. And thanks for watching. Idi Amin a product of his time? Or was he truly a dictator? Let's discuss in the comments below. The end. And thanks for watching. Idi Amin a product of his time? Or was he truly a dictator? Let's discuss in the comments below. The end. And thanks for watching. Idi Amin a product of his time? Or was he truly a dictator? Let's discuss in the comments below. The end. And thanks for watching. Idi Amin a product of his time? Or was he truly a dictator? Let's discuss in the comments below. The end. And thanks for watching. Idi Amin a product of his time? Or was he truly a dictator? Let's discuss in the comments below. The end. And thanks for watching.